I'm Jonathan Lichtenstein, and as part of this year's Virginia Arts Festival, even though the Arts Festival has been going strong for 15 years now, in the span of that time, there have been a great many new events and new initiatives put forward by the festival, and this year, 2011, is no exception. The Arts Festival is going to present something new and dramatic as part of its bill of fare, and they're calling it the Flying Prom, a symphonic air show spectacular. In a partnership between the Virginia Symphony Orchestra and the Military Aviation Museum in Virginia Beach, we're going to enjoy the spectacle of seeing vintage aircraft, many of them from the Second World War, flying in concert in a live concert with the Virginia Symphony Orchestra. And here to talk with me about that in our studios is the Virginia Symphony Orchestra's Associate Conductor, Benjamin Rous. Benjamin, thank you for coming in to see us today.
Thanks, Jonathan. Great to be here with you.
And so you're going to be the conductor for this program at the Military Aviation Museum in Virginia Beach, and that's this Saturday at about 7 o'clock in the evening.
That's right. You know, I never knew when I went into conducting that I would be conducting a concert with planes flying overhead.
You're a budding conductor for the air traffic controllers, I suppose.
That's right. I hear they have use for one.
So what exactly is the scope of the program? What sort of music can the audience expect to hear?
Well, we selected this music along with the director of the Aviation Museum and, of course, in consultation with Rob Cross at the Virginia Arts Festival to make sure that all of the music that we played was perfectly coordinated with what planes people will be seeing at the museum and flying over our heads at the same time. So a lot of the music that we're going to play comes from movies that are associated with the planes that you'll see. For example, Out of Africa, it features a British tiger moth. And so we're going to play music from Out of Africa, and you'll see a British tiger moth, which is exactly what you see in those iconic shots from that wonderful movie. And it's a fantastic movie score. Other films that are associated with that era also provided us with great film scores and great orchestral music that we could play along with the planes flying overhead. There's a great example is the piece by William Walton, a prelude and fugue, which is called the Spitfire, which of course is going to accompany a British Spitfire.
Right, and it's nice to think that the museum's collection is broad enough that it includes not only a flyable Supermarine Spitfire, but also a Hawker Hurricane, which is going to figure into the program as well, with another piece by Walton.
That's right. The British Hurricane fighter is associated with the music that we're going to be playing by William Walton, the suite from the Battle of Britain. And the conversations about exactly what planes and exactly how they would best be demonstrated by the orchestra was really fascinating and something, again, I never thought that I would end up doing, but it was a wonderful a wonderful, different way of thinking about how an orchestra can function, really.
And can interact with the demonstration of aircraft. It's interesting to note as well that this is something that's been done now for about 10 years in the United Kingdom. This is the first time that such an event will be hosted in North America. It's been in the United Kingdom using a collection called the Shuttleworth Collection, and they have staged similar events now for about 10 years, and it's become quite popular.
That's right, and that's where this sort of mysterious title comes from. The British version was called the Flying Proms to reference the Proms, the famous concert series, and so this became the Flying Proms, and so that's this version that we're doing here is our own American presentation of the similar concept.
And although we're featuring a lot of English aircraft, there are going to be a number of American planes in evidence as well. And I think that the program, with the planes anyway, the program will close with a quintessentially American plane and a quintessentially American piece by yet another quintessentially American composer.
That's right. The plane is the U.S. Navy Corsair, and there are two American planes, actually one after the other right there. The American Stearman trainer is going to be flown to music of the English Patient, which is rather graphically the plane that crashes
into the desert, right?
In the English Patient. So we'll be playing that music, and I assure our potential audience that there will be no dramatization of the plane crash. It will land safely.
Yes, it's only the music that comes from the English Patient, not the scene, setting or the scenario.
And then the Navy Corsair is going to fly to the music of Victory at Sea, which is of course iconic score by Richard Rodgers. And we're going to be playing that along with the flight of the Navy Corsair.
And that will close the first half of the program.
That's right.
At which point everybody will retire for a little while, and then the symphony will come back and play yet more music into the evening. And the audience is going to be out of doors. The entire program, obviously, out of doors to accommodate the aircraft. People hopefully will be sitting on blankets or lawn chairs and that sort of thing. And I understand that there also will be picnic baskets sold during the course of the proceedings so that people don't become faint during the concert.
That's right. It's going to be quite a festive event.
That's right.
And the second half, as you said, sort of becomes more of a concert, but it's still of a piece with the first half. By the way, the reason why is that it's going to get dark right around then. And these were planes that flew during the daytime and fly during the daytime these days as well. So the second half, the orchestra will take over and will be playing some of the major classical tunes that you know, but they're rather craftily go along with the idea of flight, including the flight from the Ride of the Valkyries.
Although I believe that there was a lot of discussion about trying to locate a Bell Huey helicopter to enable them to reenact the great scene from Apocalypse Now. That will not be the case, though.
Yeah, there was a long series of conversations about how exactly we could get helicopters there. In the end, we decided it would be fine to have the music. And is it a secret to remind that there are display of fireworks at the end of this concert?
No, not at all. There will be a great conclusion to the evening.
It's going to be the second time in my life, personally, that I've had a concert end with fireworks, and I promise there is no greater exhilaration than a symphony orchestra, which I think of as one of history's great technological inventions, the great symphony orchestra. Of course, it's an early technological invention, going along with this later one of
manned flight,
and then finally fireworks.
And what will close the program?
Well, the fireworks start off with a piece from Gustav Holst's work, The Planets, specifically Jupiter from the Planets, which to my mind evoked fireworks, and I just sort of suggested it as something that could inspire the beginning of the firework fusillade, and then finally we'll be doing of course a John Philip Sousa march to cap it all off.
A fine encore for the end of the evening. And of course we should remind listeners that the museum is open 7 days a week, and this is a great event for them and for the public as well. And I know that the museum is very happy to have had the opportunity of partnering with the Arts Festival and with the Virginia Symphony in this, and hopefully it'll become an annual tradition.
Yeah, we're just very excited to be playing in this new context and to be bringing these different people together, some of whom are interested in the planes but know less about the symphony. Some of the symphony people know less about the planes, but I think everyone's going to find it a really fascinating and festive event.
And a unique event as well, because with all of the film scores that are being employed, that seems to be the case for most people anyway, that's the only way that they've been able to observe many of these aircraft, if they have observed them previously.
That's right. I should add, when I first learned that these planes can actually still fly, I was just flabbergasted, and I can't wait to see them. I think that that's going to be the main attraction to the event from my perspective, and I'm a music geek, so there you go.
And it'll be interesting too for you, I guess, to see just how much of the planes you can see from your position on the podium.
That's right. That does remain to be seen, but I think that during the actual moment of playing, we'll probably mostly be concentrated on playing the music, which, by the way, I have to say is extremely virtuosic. The Virginia Symphony Orchestra is going to play more notes per minute than I think on any other concert of the year.
So we have notes per minute for musicians and rotations per minute for the propellers.
That's right.
So NPM and RPM. Well, I can't help but wonder what the turnout will be, but I do hope it will be strong, and I really can't wait to see it all come to fruition. It's been about a year's work for everybody involved, and I hope that it goes off without a hitch.
I thank you very much for that. I think it's going to be just a tremendous show, and I'm very excited that the Arts Festival and everyone involved at the museum has gone to the length of making this happen.
So now all we need is an audience. Well, Benjamin, it's been great having you in the studio today, and I really thank you for coming by and for speaking to our audience about this event. And just to remind everybody again, this is the Flying Proms, which will be hosted by the Military Aviation Museum in Virginia Beach as part of this year's Virginia Arts Festival, including demonstrations of vintage aircraft in concert with the Virginia Symphony in an evening's program. The gates open at 3 p.m. and the concert is set to begin at 7 o'clock. So we encourage you to come out and give a listen to the Virginia Symphony as they perform. And you can find more information on tickets online at vafest.org, or you can call 282-2822. Again, this is the first Flying Prom as part of this year's Virginia Arts Festival.